Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vanessa and you are watching the Exploring Oracle, or the Exploracle for short. So today we will be taking a look at a Kickstarter deck. This is the Dark Reflections Tarot by Muci Design. So I just backed the deck for Kickstarter, but she did also include this tin box if you want to use that instead of your magnetic closure box. You also get some journaling stickers as part of the pledge, and a pin. Oh, you don't see the detail. Let me take it out of the bag. But yeah, I think it's a really pretty pin. It's like the yin yang, sun and moon pin. All right. Okay, but I would probably still keep it in the original packaging. It is a magnetic closure box. I wish it went all the way down, but it's still a pretty good box. It says here, oh, I can't read it. You cannot become the best version of yourself until you love your worst version. Because after you give love to your darkness, the light comes, and that is the path to healing. So this deck is really intended for shadow work. You'll see later the cards are actually illustrated as the shadow side of that particular card. I'm a little bit lost today, but yeah, so let's first take a look at the guidebook. So this is the Dark Reflections guidebook. She does have a separate shadow work journal or guide. I didn't get that anymore because of budget constraints at the time that this campaign was funding. But I do think it is available on her website. But again, since I live in the Philippines, shipping would be a little bit too much. So I'll just work with the deck as is and do my own journaling practice with it. In the table of contents, it says about shadow work spreads, and then some description of the major and major arcana before it goes into the suits and the bonus cards. So it says here, the guidebook covers the basic introduction to shadow work in relation to this tarot deck, but to learn more about shadow work, please visit mucidesign.com. So there are optional resources for further reading. So you do have a few spreads here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before you go into the meanings of the cards, with a thumbnail of the picture of the deck, the meaning, the associated number, the ruling planet and element, the shadow traits to explore, challenges when repressed, the growth opportunities when accepted, and some questions to ask or journaling prompts. So that is how the guidebook is set up for all of the cards, and basically it goes all the way to the end. Oh, with some bonus cards. So yeah. That is the guidebook, and there is a ribbon. Not sure why I didn't use it. But let me put this to the side. These are the cards. These are the backs. My lighting is not good today, so I'm having some trouble showing you the details. But look at these beautiful backs. They are reversible, yes. It is gilded in this beautiful black holographic edge. Now, I'm not always a fan of gilding, but this feels super smooth, no sharp edges at all, so I don't mind it, and it is quite pretty. Cardstock, it is a matte finish, snaps back really well, really good quality, as I think we've come to expect from the Muci Design. So they're the same creators as the Baroque Tarot and the Phantom Tarot. I actually want to get the Baroque Tarot sometime in the future, but let's see. Alright, so let's zoom in. Alright, that took a while, but I finally got this camera to focus on the cards. But as you can see, the cards are completely borderless. And the imagery isn't the typical RWS imagery. And it's actually focused on the more shadow side of this particular card. Now, I was involved at the very start of this deck because I signed up for a survey when she was doing some survey, sharing some initial art about what she was planning to do with this deck. I saw the first few drafts of the art and it has come a long way. I do think. I think she listened to a lot of the feedback that she got from these surveys, which I completely appreciate. And it does give us this deck that is quite unique from any other deck because its primary focus is really to look at the shadow side or the meaning of the cards. Like strength. I mean, you know, you can get some intuitive meaning already from this, but you do have the small guidebook to give you some additional information. It is still based on RWS though, so if you are already familiar with the RWS, then I think you would have maybe an easier time with this deck than if this would be your first tarot deck. I don't really think that. Well, personally, I wouldn't recommend this to be a first tarot deck if you are an absolute beginner and you don't know the meanings yet, because it might, and you know, especially if you are new with shadow work, because I don't know, I feel like shadow work is something that you really have to get into when you are in a good place or in a good space, or at least very open to what you need to work on. I don't think it would be a good idea to do shadow work if you are feeling emotional or triggered, or let's say you're just not in a good space or place right now. And some of the cards here can be quite triggering. But for me personally, I really was keen on backing this because I was, you know, interested to see that shadow side of the tarot. And like even for the Four of Wands, it does, you know, it's supposed to be stability, celebration, even marriage, and this looks like, I don't know, it's you know, it's just, I think, a really well thought of deck. I think that it can give you a lot, or it can give you a whole new layer of meaning to how you read tarot, which makes it really quite unique, but maybe not as beginner friendly as other decks that are available right now. I mean, because honestly, I feel like I might not even be ready for this, or maybe that's really just my personal resistance, I think, to shadow work. Well, not really resistance, it's just that I don't do shadow work if I feel like I'm not not ready for it. Maybe that's the simplest term. I'm not a professional tarot reader. I don't read professionally. I don't read for others except for maybe some friends or family. I mostly read for myself. So most of the work that I do in my practice is very much introspective, reflective, you know. I don't need to be digging into my shadows all the time. But this deck is definitely something that I feel is a great addition to my collection, because it is something that I can use when I am like specifically in that space or in that mood to do some deep reflection and shadow work. Because I don't know if it's because she marketed it as a shadow work deck, but it's because I don't really see myself using this as a daily reader, or I don't see myself pulling this out for daily readings. That's what I meant. I also like, I'm not sure if you noticed, but for each suit, there is a predominant color. So, here. So for example, for the cups, it's like this bluish color. For the swords, it's yellow. Let's look at the wands. I wasn't able to highlight this earlier. The wands are this maroon color. And then moving into the pentacles, it's green. So I do like that detail. I like that. And it doesn't feel off, right? I mean, it just looks seamless. I didn't even think of calling it out at the start of the video. Well, while I was doing the flip through. And yeah, but it's a really nice detail, because then when you lay out the cards, I think you can automatically see if you need to work more on like your the earth element, or like your emotions or action or your thoughts, if you see the dominant color on your spread. And she does have some extra cards, which is the light and shadow. Alright, so I zoomed out a little bit so that we can see how this deck shuffles. And it shuffles really well. It's just sticking to my mat, but you get a really good mix. You can bridge it. It is still a little bit stiff because it is a new deck. I just got this last week, and I'm as excited as I am to receive this deck. I'm not sure if I will work with it anytime soon, because maybe just like a card pull. Let's see. Let's see. But yeah, for overhand or side shuffling, also no issues. It is a type of mat that still slips and doesn't feel like it's going to clump, so I really like that. So let's see if we can get a card to jump out, and then, okay, well, there are two cards, so we'll just choose this one, and it is the King of Swords. So no issues with this overhand shuffling. Let us zoom in and see what this guidebook has to say about our King of Swords. This card represents authority, truth, and intellectual power, often indicating a time of using logic and reason to make decisions and resolve conflicts. So the associated number is 14. The ruling planet is Uranus, sign Libra, and the element is air. The shadow traits to explore for the King of Swords is tyrannical versus visionary. And the challenges when repressed: irrational, dictator, oppressive, inhumane, controlling, cold, ruthless, dishonest, unfair, selfish, bad judgment, and manipulation. While the growth opportunities, when accepted, is being rational, intelligent, truthful, powerful, balanced, innovative, cooperation, strong, committed, and having clarity. And then your prompts, or the questions to ask: are you trying to get the right perspective? What are your motives? What are the other people's motives? Are you doubting your power? Are you focusing on the known over the unknown? So there's not just one prompt. You can actually have a lot of prompts to reflect on or journal about if you were to pull a card from this deck. And I do think this deck is quite special. I do like the artwork. I like the artwork. I think it's thoughtfully done. I'm choosing a card to leave you with. I usually choose the bright cards, but as it is a shadow work deck, there's not a lot of like bright imagery. But let me choose a Temperance card. I think it's well produced. I think it's well thought of. I'm really happy that I backed this deck. And I do want to work with it, but maybe not yet, not right now, because working with your shadow or doing shadow work, at least in my opinion, should be something that you do when you're ready, when you have support, or it's not something that you just randomly do, or just for the sake of it, at least in my opinion. Now, I got into tarot primarily because I do want to do a little bit of shadow work, learn more about myself, get some additional insights. But I don't think this deck would be the one that I would use for my daily draws. I think I will reserve it for a time when I would be doing more deeper work with myself. But this deck feels really special, and I do think that it's something that would give me a lot of insight as part of my tarot practice. So that has been the flip through of the Dark Reflections Tarot by Muci Design. Do you have this deck? Are you interested in this deck? Do let me know in the comments. So I'll also be linking in the description the Muci Design store, so that if you're interested in this deck, you can check it out. Anyway, if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to click on the like button, and do consider subscribing to my channel, where I post videos like this at least once a week. See you again next time. Bye!